All of you Westerners have been lied to by your media about Chinese issues. If you can't handle knowing how biased and deceiving Western media can be, then this video isn't for you. I'm here to tell you the truth with definitive evidence. If you think you can handle that, then keep watching.
成都娜娜就是那么辣。成都娜娜，那就说吧。
You know what pisses me off? All of this fake news on China you see in the West. Just about every day, I read about some Western media report making up stuff about China. I mean, it's basically just misinformation and slander. I've really had enough of this. I lived in the UK for more than 6 years, so I fully understand how the Western media manipulates negative and fake news about China. I know you Westerners always stereotype us Chinese people as being brainwashed by our government, so nothing we say can be believed. But in fact, it's you Westerners who have been misled by your media. So today, I'm gonna refute the conspiracy reported in many Western media that China was hiding the coronavirus outbreak early on. I'm gonna give the Western media and anyone who strongly believes in this fake news a huge slap in the face with real evidence to set things right. No BS, just hard-proven facts to show you how wrong and disgusting the Western media can be when it comes to China. Look at these headlines. China concealed extent of virus outbreak. China cover-up severity of coronavirus outbreak. Chinese coronavirus cover-up. Okay, Chinese coronavirus. That's brilliant. In Chinese culture, we have an old saying, 以其人之道还治其人之身, which means deal with the man as he deals with you. So I'm happy to call H1N1 American virus. What I'm gonna do today is to go through the chronology of how China handled the coronavirus situation early on. I'm gonna bring up evidence that will prove China didn't cover up anything. The evidence shows that China released information both domestically and globally very frequently since the early stages of the outbreak, and also explains precisely how the outbreak developed. I've gathered evidence from official sources, like the Wuhan CDC website and the People's Daily newspaper, which has the highest readership in China. The earliest evidence I'm gonna show is in Chinese, so I'll translate the key points. But after January 3rd, I'll show evidence in English as well. The whole story began with a doctor called Zhang Jixian, who was the first person to find the cases of abnormal pneumonia. These screenshots are taken from the People's Daily. As I said before, the People's Daily is the most popular news outlet in China. What it says here is that on December 27th, Dr. Zhang found 3 patients with viral pneumonia had unusual CT lung scans, and 2 of the patients were a couple. As Dr. Zhang was one of the medical experts during the 2003 SARS epidemic, she realized something was wrong. The couple's son, who was taking care of them, also showed the same lung conditions. Although he didn't have any symptoms, usually you wouldn't have an entire family with the same conditions unless it was an infectious disease. So Dr. Zhang immediately reported these cases to the hospital director, and the hospital then reported the cases to the local district-level CDC. On December 28th, 3 more cases with the same lung conditions were found in Dr. Zhang's hospital, and the hospital reported the situation to the city-level CDC. And the next day, on December 29th, the province-level CDC sent medical staff to the hospital to investigate the cases. So there were only 2 days between Dr. Zhang's first report and the provincial CDC's investigation. That shows how quickly the government responded to the situation. Just 1 day later, on December 30th, the Wuhan CDC notified all the hospitals in the city of this viral pneumonia of unknown cause, which was the first internal notification. The notification also ordered the hospitals to check and submit the data on suspicious cases that occurred in the past 1 week by 4 p.m. that day, since they only asked for data on cases from 1 week prior, as opposed to the past few weeks or months. It implies that these cases were newly found and couldn't have been spreading in China for months. So this is one evidence that refutes the conspiracy that China hid the situation for months. The next day, on December 31st, the Wuhan CDC made the first official announcement of this pneumonia to the public. You can find this information on their website. They announced 27 cases, and all the patients had been quarantined. It also says that experts hadn't found clear evidence of human-to-human transmission, and they couldn't confirm if it was SARS. The Chinese media reported the situation for the first time on the same day. There was only a 1-day difference between the government's internal notification and the announcement to the public. So, this is another evidence to show that China reviewed the situation quickly and didn't hide the information. Every piece of evidence on their website has a clear date to show you how early the information was released. On the same day, the National CDC sent experts to Wuhan to perform an epidemiological survey. So this also proves the Chinese government's fast response to this situation. On January the 3rd, the Wuhan CDC reported 44 cases of the viral pneumonia, and all the patients were being treated in quarantine. This notice says that the flu had been ruled out as a cause, but the virus hadn't been identified yet, so the pathogeny was still under investigation. This was also reported in the People's Daily and other Chinese media. The People's Daily first tweeted in English about the pneumonia cases on January the 3rd, which was only 3 days after it was announced domestically. So, it demonstrates that China informed the world about the unknown virus very early on. The WHO first tweeted about the pneumonia cases in Wuhan on January 5th. Notice here that it was China who first reported the cases to the WHO, not any other country or region, such as Taiwan. This screenshot is from the Wuhan CDC website on the same day. It announced 59 cases, but investigations until then hadn't found convincing evidence for human-to-human transmission. As you can see here, the People's Daily also tweeted this information to the world. So did China hide the situation? What were the US and Europe doing on January 5th? Gloating over China? Making fun of China's so-called inferior healthcare system? The People's Daily reported a few days later, on January 7th, that Chinese experts discovered the novel coronavirus in lab tests and got its entire genome sequence, which meant that it only took 1 week to identify this new virus. The People's Daily then announced that the previously unidentified pneumonia was caused by a new type of coronavirus. On January 11th, the People's Daily announced the first death from the new coronavirus in China. On January 12th, China shared with the WHO information on the genome sequence of the novel coronavirus, just 4 days after its discovery in lab tests. The first confirmed case outside China was reported by the People's Daily on January 13th. So you can clearly see that Chinese media released new information almost every day. Even in those early days, no new cases were reported between January 11th and 15th, but they reported 4 new cases on January 16th because of newly developed test kits provided by the government. This brought the total number of cases to 45, including 2 deaths. In the next few days, they confirmed more and more new cases every day, which was because of faster tests with new official diagnosis and treatment procedures based on more research and a deeper understanding of this novel coronavirus. You can see that cases weren't confirmed quickly early on simply because of the limited understanding of this new virus and the lack of proper test kits at the time. So it demonstrates that China wasn't hiding cases at all. In the next few days, Chinese experts first confirmed that the novel coronavirus can be transmitted between humans. Then they found similarities with SARS that helped to develop effective prevention and control policies. They also released electron microscopic images of the novel coronavirus to the world. You can see here that even way back in January, this healthcare worker in the US was thanking China for quickly sharing information about the novel coronavirus. So it's another proof to demonstrate that China was completely transparent in reporting the development of the outbreak. In fact, the WHO Director General visited China in January and met with the Chinese president to share information on the outbreak and discuss various measures to contain it. On February 1st, the Chinese Premier Li Keqiang discussed the novel coronavirus situation with the European Commission President. As I showed you before, China started sharing the number of cases since the beginning of the outbreak and kept the world updated every day. There's no point in going through all the statistics here, but here are some of the turning points. On February 11th, a leading Chinese respiratory expert predicted the outbreak will reach its peak between mid and late February. On February 23rd, the daily number of recovered and discharged patients passed 2,000 for the third day in a row. On February 25th, 23 provinces reported 0 new cases. On February 27th, the top Chinese epidemiologist Zhong Nanshan said that China will bring the outbreak under control by the end of April. On March 8th, China reported no new domestic cases outside Hubei province. On March 12th, Zhong Nanshan predicted that the epidemic will wind down in June, and he also warned that many countries weren't taking the virus seriously. So this is another evidence that China emphasized the severity of the virus again and again. Here's my message to the US and some other European countries. Don't try to pass the buck to China. It's your own arrogance, underestimation of the virus, and dumb measures that led to your current crisis. All the evidence I've shown you points to the clear truth that China did not hide the outbreak. In fact, the timeline of events showed that China started sharing information soon after finding out about the virus and kept the world updated every step of the way, and they still are. In the early days, they were dealing with an unknown disease that no one in the world has seen. Would you be able to test for a new disease that nobody understands? Of course not. But as soon as China learned more about the virus, they developed better tests and very quickly confirmed new cases and announced to the public. You can see from the tweets that China has been telling the entire world what was happening precisely as the situation developed. If all this evidence doesn't convince you that the Western media's conspiracy on China's cover-up is completely made up, then feel free to comment below and show me some real facts to prove me wrong. Don't tell me what you think or feel. I want real data and sources. This whole Chinese cover-up isn't the only BS I've seen in Western media. In my next video, I'm gonna refute the ridiculous Western notion that the Chinese government didn't take enough measures against the outbreak. I mean, do you actually know all the things China did since the beginning? I bet it wasn't reported in the West. But don't worry, I'll show you what the Western media has been hiding from you.